Hello and welcome to episode 27, I think, of the Hobby Hour. I'm here with my good friend Dan for another hour to two, potentially, of generalised hobby chatter.
Miniature Realms is proudly sponsored by Counter-Attack Bases. They stock a wide range of counters, gaming aids and movement trays for multiple game systems and offer custom items to suit your club or even your podcast or YouTube channel. Check out the link in the video description.
All right, Dan, how's it going? How are you, mate?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. I'm glad it is a little bit cooler this week to record this. I have the fan on, but it's on the lowest setting at the moment. It's a little bit cooler. If I'd done this last week, I think I'd be melting in my seat. Sat here doing this. Well, it wouldn't happen, let's be honest.
It's been quite the summer here, isn't it, for weather? It's usually wet for a lot more of it than it has been this summer.
Yeah, we've had all of our sunny weather in two defined lumps turned up to 11. So I'm quite glad that we appear to be over the hump of that, which means do some hobby, because there's nothing dense hobby faster for me, at least, than seriously hot weather. Can't paint, even sitting just gluing and assembling stuff. I mean, I know you have to do it for work, so that's a bit different for you, but it's not my job. So I absolutely don't want to do that. I want to sit under the fan. I've got a lot more reading done, let's be honest. But yeah, it's not conducive to hobby. I don't know anyone that is. I know a few people who've suffered this year. Dan, Mr. Wheeler, has suffered quite badly because he's been relegated to the loft recently. So yeah, sitting in a loft space trying to hobby. No, he hasn't done any. So yeah, it's much nicer now. It's a little bit cooler. How about yourself?
Yeah, same really. I apart from still been hobbying, but it's been hot. It's been it's felt like a good summer. I know it's not good for farmers, and it's not good for people with gardens and things. It's been pretty dry everywhere, but the weather's been pretty good. And as someone who's been doing a lot of stuff with the family and the kids, and we had a camping trip in our VW camper van in Cornwall, and it felt like a beautiful summer holiday because the weather was great. So in that sense, I quite enjoyed it. It does get very hot in this office, which is, I've said many times before, a little 3-story townhouse here. So I'm right at the top. It does get quite warm. We're not quite in the loft space. That gets even hotter, but it does get a little bit sticky. But I think I've got to the stage where I'm so used to just having to do it. I don't really ever let the weather stop me. And I've still been doing my own hobby, but it's not always been as pleasant as it has been. So we're going to have a bit of a general chatter show today. We've got so much stuff that we've been up to. It's been a while since we last recorded, so rather than pick a big topic, and we will probably dip into some topics, but we're just going to talk about them as they come up. So we'll kind of pass backwards and forwards talking about what we've been up to in the hobby and let those conversations grow and just have a real catch up. And you can join us for it and listen in and wonder why we're recording it and sharing it with you guys, no doubt. So I thought we'd start with, Dan, should we start with Horus Heresy related hobby? Because I think that's what you've been doing mostly recently. So I said, Dan, what have you been up to in the last couple of weeks? You've been building a load of heresy, haven't you?
Yeah, goodness. I got a little bit carried away, and I have one person to blame for that, Mr. Taylor. If you're watching this, I won't swear at you because it's not that kind of channel, but was in the local gaming shop on the day of release, and he basically throws the Mark II Centurion across the table at me and goes, "Crack on," because I was a model I was interested in painting, and suddenly I've built over 2,000 points. Yay. That said, I've played one game so far, but I've been sort of delving into it. Third's brilliant. It's genuinely brilliant. I know a lot of people are unhappy with it. I don't know how much of that topic we're going to touch during this. I know that obviously you did a video on I watched it with some of your views on it. I found the response that was, i.e. people getting very upset about a leak out of context about Path of the Course with Heresy Community. I'm honest with you. It's exactly what I expected. Got exactly what I expected. subsequently people calmed down a little bit when GW released the extra erratas, FAQs, and legacy bits. A lot of people claim that was a victory for them having a whinge. All right. There ain't no way they wrote it that fast. Sorry. But we're leaving that alone. Otherwise, the comments will just be full of people who are nappy rash. So we're not having that. But I love it. I think it's brilliant. I played one game a second during its entire run. I've still got 20 odd thousand points worth of Painted Heresy. I had no interest in second whatsoever. It was a flawed game. Third is much, much better. Has some really interesting design cues in it. I very much enjoy playing it. It does have a level of depth. I would say as a layer above 40k and stuff. I don't think it makes it better or worse. It's just different. Yeah, they've got their own complexities and ways of playing in their own way. They appear to have borrowed a lot of stuff from other game systems, including 40k, and you can see elements of the Middle-earth strategy battle in there and bits of Necromunda and the way the challenge system works. There's some really great stuff in there. Most importantly, it's just got me a bit more excited about playing with Space Dollies again, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Because it's been hot, I decided to reread the first 5 Heresy books. So that's Horus Rising through to Fulgrim. I forgot they were as short as they are. For some reason you think of them as tomes, and they're really not. They're only 300 or so pages. So it's
your standard novel size on that. I think when you're starting a new series and you're commissioning new novels, you've got that word count as we don't want to go too short. This is your kind of your normal novel size. I'm not surprised they're that size.
Yeah, it's just I always remembered them being longer.
Well, the whole tale is so epic, isn't it? And it's so easy. Because when go back to the Geno days when we first met, when we were talking about books as they were coming out and we didn't know what was going to happen. Now everything's in retrospect now, looking back at these books. I mean, the Horus Rising is obviously, that was before I think I read that even before I started playing games again. So it's right back at the beginning of my re-emergence into the hobby. Funny enough, won't talk about it in any detail, but I've re-listened to those first 5 as well around the same time as you. I didn't even realise it, but Jordan and I are going to be talking about it as a book.
But the Easter eggs, I don't know how many of those you noticed when you re-listened to it. Are we going to do spoilers for the end of Siege of Terror? Has it been long enough?
I think so.
Right.
I mean, if you haven't, then what's the stop?
Sorry, put your fingers in your ears for the next 20 seconds or so. But there's a line where Loken, who is ever the thinker, thinks about his mortality, dying alone in the dark, and that's exactly how he dies.
Yeah,
when Erebus does him, and obviously this is the first time I've reread those first 5 books since finishing Siege. I'd read them multiple times prior to that, but whether that was fortuitous foresight or, obviously both were Dan Abnett, I don't know how much he may have got. He probably read his own book again multiple times.
I think there's quite a few lines actually, and having recently read those first 5 and then recently reread the trilogy for the Siege, or the End of the Death,
the foreshadowing. Yeah,
there is some deliberate retelling of lines and things redone. So I think it's all deliberate. Absolutely, I think it's very much a nod to people who read those lines, however many years ago now. They are like your callbacks in films. They want the fans almost punch in the air kind of moments, aren't they? Slightly more solemnly and subtly though, because they're pretty depressing.
Well, next year it's 20 years.
Wow, yeah.
Which makes me feel very old.
Yeah. I don't think I read them as soon as they first came out, but I remember reading them on at least, they're probably 2 or 3 years old when I read them.
Yeah, because they started being released not long before I started working for the company.
Yeah.
But obviously I was a hobbyist at that point. So yeah, that's really trippy. Really, really trippy. Knowing how old that is. It's also worse when I go and look at my copy of Storm of Iron. That makes me feel very, very old. But it's been really fun rereading those, and it gets you excited. It has to a degree, influenced my decision on my Legion. I've gone Sons of Horus again. This is the third Sons of Horus army I've painted, or will be painting. But in the last 3 weeks, I've built over 2,000 points worth of Marines, which isn't the easiest thing to do these days. We've spoken about this before, but in the old days, getting that stroke our beards, when you had the resin and it was legs and torsos and arms, you could trim them all up, lay it all out, and then just chain it, just do all the legs. And because I was one of those absolute psychos who pinned every piece together because it was all resin. So I'd drill all the bits and then lay them aside, clean the desk, do the thing. Whereas now, I mean, the mountain of little plastic shavings that was on my desk, I cleaned it off a couple of days ago. I mean, literally, you could have filled up a large bowl with it. It was mental. And I never want to build a Geredio ever again. I know I'm talking to someone who built the Cathayan Sentinel, but that Geredio is horrendous.
Yeah, you talked to me about that, and I'm trying to remember my feelings over it. But the last one I built would have been part of such a huge commission.
It also depends if they had the plasma. A lot of people chose the plasma. If you've got the Ambulance autocannon battery, each ammo feed, 12 pieces each side.
Yeah, I do remember something about that, but I built so much, I think, in the interim that
it's also
the pain has been taken away by other painful things.
It's the way the panels line up, particularly on the Geredio, because it's the way people talk about it having almost akin to a boat's prow, and the join is right on the forward angle of the seam where everything joins together, and it doesn't by nature want to fit flush. There is a gap if you're not careful, so you've got to try and clamp bits together, and it took a while. It made me very cross. It was a bit warm that week as well, so it probably didn't help anything.
Probably didn't help.
But it's been enjoyable to. So I mean, the new models are great. I mean, the Contemptor was much better, but you could do so much more with it, pose wise and stuff.
Yeah, I do like the new plastic Contemptors. I will be picking up one of those just because I like the simplicity of those new miniatures now. I much prefer them to the resins. Actually, I like the smoother armor plate to do stuff with. Just put decals on, to be honest with you. I'm more of a decals man than a molded shoulder pad kind of guy.
I've left all of that kind of stuff off, and I quite like the new rhinos as well because they come with the right tracks.
They do, yeah.
You can see I've magnetised the bottom, right?
Yeah.
But
I've built enough of those. They're all good kits. They do take ages to build now. I was thinking about this the other day, is that when I started, it's probably going back a couple of years now when they first came out, and I do a load of heresy commissions, and I mentioned this in that video that I when I talked about the heresy stuff. It's easily 60-70% of all the commissions I've ever done have been heresy, and I remember getting those first plastic kits and thinking, I'm not going to have to sit here fighting with resin anymore, and building resin Spartans and things. There's bits of it that aren't fun. But I could probably still build a resin Spartan quicker than I could build just because of the sheer number of small parts.
You wouldn't have to cut the track out though before they did the full molded track sections.
Oh god, yeah. But those are the painful parts. The massive gates, and you're big bits away
off the back of the Sakaran.
Yes, exactly. Lots of that kind of stuff. But once you've sawed it off and cleaned it up, you've got this massive hunk of stuff, and you like bang, 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 and the miniature goes together quite quickly then. Whereas it's the opposite way round with these. Lots of parts are easy to take off the sprue and clean up. Oh my God, have you got a lot afterwards? I think if I was building just for myself and no time pressure, actually, I'd probably just enjoy it if I didn't buy it, have this whole army sitting in front of me. But so often now, the way I buy my own hobby and when I'm working, I've got the whole army sitting there. I'm going to try and not do that with the heresy stuff. I nearly the other day bought some extra bits, and I've just held off and gone, no, I've got my Saturnine box. I'm going to build that, and then I'm going to paint that, and then I'm going to decide what I want to do anymore with it. So at the moment, I just want to paint it and enjoy painting heresy and listening to heresy and feeling absorbed with a game I love in terms of everything but the gameplay at the moment. The new game looks good, but I'd like to be in a position to play it if I want to, but it's not infusing me the same way as say Old World is or something like that. Part of that is because I didn't like the end of first edition, and I never played second. Whereas this does feel like it could be something different. This does feel like someone
Yeah.
just got the other day. It might have actually been Neil on Warhammer TV. So this is a slight side tangent now. Warhammer TV isn't worth the money you pay for it at all. But I pay for it partly for professional reasons. It's a business cost for me, and it means I can keep up on stuff. But they have really good interviews on there. The kind of interviews
Yeah.
they should have. They're starting to put more stuff up for free now, which is worth having an account at least so you can watch the free videos. But this is the kind of stuff that should be on their YouTube channel so that they can communicate better to the customer base to stop them getting so wound up about things. Because you tell the tale of the narrative of why they're doing things more, the way other companies can and do, then you can head off an awful lot of the complaints from people. But anyway, there was an interview about the new edition, and he described it as almost a 5th edition 40k inspired core game with all these extra things, like you mentioned, from so many different game systems. And I think that's a smart way of looking at it. For me, the first edition felt very much like you were playing 7th edition 40k, which I never enjoyed. So I was there playing it for the miniatures and the lore
and the social
and the
social, the people you played,
never for the game. And I stopped playing because I didn't have a bad time playing a game, but I didn't get any excitement at all from anything to do with the game. And then Middle Earth absolutely loved the mechanics, and I always will love fantasy because it's just home to me. It's like putting on a cozy jacket or something. I don't know why I use that analogy. I hate jackets and I don't wear slippers and pajamas or any of those cozy things. But it makes me feel at home. It's like having a nice glass of whiskey or something, sitting in front of the telly in the winter when it's warm and when it's cold outside and I've got the fire on, watching the Ashes at 11 o'clock at night. Stuff I love to do. It makes me feel good. And I've never got that. But this, I have read the rules through. I've not played a game like you. I've read the rules through. There is enough there that makes you think, you know what, this feels old and modernized at the same time, and I quite like it. So
it's quite intuitive.
Forward to giving it a go when I've got stuff painted. Whether I go crazy and keep adding to it, I don't know.
Well, maybe we can meet up or organise a game. It's less swingy. They have calmed reactions right down, which was one of my major issues with second edition Heresy. That and some pretty rotten game mechanics regarding challenges and stuff. Mentioning no names, but very early on in the edition, put a couple of prime marks into each other, and the first thing someone does is, I'll accept it with my sergeant, and then proceeds to have their Ferrus Manus beat the living snot out of the rest of my army. I think there's certain parts of second edition that was clearly geared towards that competitive, and they've toned that right back, which is fantastic. I mean, there'll be people who still play it that way. Do what you like. You're not in my circle. I don't care what you do, and that's one of the things for me.
I'm a bit different. I think games are good if they can be played in multiple different ways to suit the different customers. To be honest with you.
It just depends how it leads the zeitgeist in terms of, as you talked about before, there's nothing wrong in having a balanced game driven to a degree by wanting to ensure competitive gaming works properly and that feeds through. But it shouldn't be the whole of the conversation, and it seemed to dominate the second edition conversation in a way that it jarred for me, because it, as like yourself, the gaming was a consequence of the socializing. It being immersed in a setting and a hobby I loved, around some very competent hobbyists. I'm not going to be one of those people who says that the heresy community is the best at painting, because that's a patent lie, and they don't do better hobby than anyone else. And there's a little arrogance to that I really don't like, because it's not true.
Yeah, I see that. You don't see that. You don't realise them sometimes until you come out. You're in a community where the hobby standards are quite high. There's always disparity between top and bottom, but the hobby standards are generally quite high, and there's a lot of people that really care about it. But if you only play that one game, you're never going to see any other examples of awesome hobby that's out there as well.
So, that was the immersion that we had, particularly around the Geno stuff. People would congregate. I mean, I lived in Peterborough, I still live in Peterborough, but at the time, Peterborough was a bit of a mecca for heresy. Same thing with around the Cheltenham area, because people would congregate there, and we'd come over, Peterborough whackers and all that kind of stuff. And there was but it was the social. It was an excuse to come to Cheltenham, have a couple of drinks in Chip's pub, have a laugh with people that actually a lot of people had similar interests. It wasn't just the hobby, because there were people who had similar tastes in music or of a similar life experience, had other interests, could get on as human beings, not just fellow hobbyists, and that was quite nice. And I felt like it lost some of that, particularly towards the end of first edition, when everyone got quite cross, and the internet community went a bit horrible. I think there's a very polite way of putting it.
Jumping out by then. I think I missed most of it. I jumped out early, and not because of that. I didn't notice the. I think I noticed the emergence of it. But by that stage, I was already realizing I want to play a game where I actually enjoy the tabletop part of it as well. And I'd always thought I'll go back to it.
But I think between COVID, which, let's be honest, while good for the hobby and getting people in, it's been bad for social etiquette in general. And then second edition, I think I was too far gone to come back during second edition. I was more into my Middle Earth, and then Old World's come along. But I'm using this as an opportunity, and I'm enjoying it. And a couple of the locals have got back in. Even Dan's stopped taking photos of airplanes to paint some Raven Guard, which is quite cool. Everyone's kind of got back on it a little bit, and it's the people, and it's rechanneling that, because again, the game is common, it's a held value, but that's the excuse to get together and have a couple of drinks and have a laugh. I went round to Jamie's the other week. That's where I played a game with Riddick, and normally he doesn't just put his foot in your arse, he puts, like, he's up to his hip. And we had a really fun game, really close, really swingy, lots of fun stuff going on. Just in Jamie's house, and there was a bunch of us there. We had a laugh, we ripped out of each other as we always have done, and it felt a lot like it did years ago, even though we're all older and grayer and more kids, and life, all of that wonderful thing where life just grinds you down. But in that little window, it felt like we were all, 10 years ago. And that's fantastic. You can't argue with that. So it's nice to be a little bit hopeful about your hobby again, but I'm trying to keep my circle small, minimize my exposure to some of the other elements that have previously soured me, shall I say. I won't necessarily be going to events, at least for the foreseeable, because I just want to keep that hobby enthusiasm up, because as you've probably experienced in the past, it can be fragile, and I really don't want it to get tarnished.
So, and you're lucky you've got a lot of friends relatively close to you that play the game and continue to play the game, that you will be able to go and engage with it and enjoy it, and you can avoid and ignore some of the other stuff. I'll be honest with you, I was out of most of those groups anyway. I rejoined a few. As for anyone who hasn't, I'm not going to retell the story from my paint and chat the other day. It's about half an hour ago, go and watch that video if you haven't seen it already. But I came back at the time because I was interested. I was thinking about picking up the starter, which I did in the end. And I was interested, and I went and joined a few groups and
you picked your moment, didn't you?
Saw some stuff. Again, go and watch that video. But some of the stuff I saw was probably some of the worst stuff I've seen. But also it's calmed down now almost entirely.
Massively. I mean, I broke my rule. I don't tend to engage with that stuff anymore. I did break my rule. When people were saying about Mr. Bly rolling his grave, I thought, you've clearly never met the man. We won't get into that subject on here, but
I mentioned that as well.
That's very distasteful. As someone, and this isn't a chess BT thing, I met him because I worked for GW for a time. He was very much an advocate of people doing hobby their own way, and he wouldn't have stood for using hobby as an excuse to make personal attacks on anyone. And I've met Pardo. Pardo is Pardo. But what he suffered under there, and the fact he took it with such good grace, only speaks to the character of the man.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. But go and watch my video. I'm not going to talk about the not because I don't want to avoid it. I just don't want to repeat myself. Really.
Yeah, and I don't want to be mired in the misery.
If you got more to say, absolutely say more. But
I think
repeat myself from my
people
video.
people make their own choices about what they put out into the world. Given my personal profession, and these are open groups, all I will say is this stuff lives forever, and you need to be really careful about what you put out there, because it's amazing what turns up in checks. I know it's not even a joke.
Yeah.
But also, this isn't a job; it's a hobby. Why spend so much time miring it in misery? If you don't like it, do something else.
Yeah.
And certainly don't you. There's one thing, and I think I've said this before. It's one thing to say I don't like it, but it's another thing to say you shouldn't like it either. Let people go and do what they're happy doing. You know.
Yeah.
But certainly turning around and saying if you want to play third, you're a traitor and things like nah.
Yeah. And
If
that's
you
the
want to go
nice
off,
end of the scale of some of the things I saw. But yeah,
well, this is a
that's the
non-swearing
hard,
podcast.
that's the harmless end of the scale. But yeah, that's some
Yeah.
crazy things.
Although talking of sweary podcasts, let's talk about something that's brought me a great deal of hobby joy in the last couple of days, and that is a good friend Jordan Sorcery, who's been on the channel with us before. He's got a couple of subcasts, and obviously you're part of some of those, your book club and the movie club. He's recently had Dave Walker, aka MS Paints, on to discuss movies and their relevance, somewhat tangentially to Games Workshop and Warhammer in general. And this one, they talked about Heavy Metal, the 1981 animated classic, in my opinion, and Alien 3, which is a contentious one, often much maligned. But
I'm an Alien 3 fanboy. I love it.
Me too. What was it? There's often those jokes about maturity is realizing, it's like intelligence is knowing tomato is a fruit, that wisdom is not putting it in a fruit salad. It's that kind of thing. It's you realize that Alien 3 is a very flawed movie, but if you grow up and realize actually in and of itself, it's great. And some of the performances in there are by far the greatest of the entire series by a long way. I mean, Charles Dance, I don't think I've ever seen him in anything he's sucked in. But it had the unfortunate gift of following Aliens and also having one of the worst development cycles ever. But anywho, Jordan did this chat with Dave. Very sweary. Just a warning. I would say everyone who's interested in the hobby, or either of those movies, or just good chat, a really good podcast of any stripe.
Dave was swearing. Jordan wasn't. I don't think I've ever heard. Jordan doesn't swear. I don't think I've ever heard Jordan swear.
No,
not even in private. I don't think he did. I don't think I've ever heard him swear. But anyway,
not in person, away from cameras. We spent the better part of 2 days with him. Never heard a peep out of him in that regard. Even Eve out and about. No, he's a much better behaved gentleman than we are, and certainly a lot better behaved than Dave. But that seriously awesome. Everyone should go watch it. I really enjoyed it. I think I watched it yesterday morning actually. I saw it Monday night.
Me too. Very good. He's got some other good guests lined up for this season of it. He's recorded it. It's all pre-recorded this season's done. So I think it's all pre-recorded. He's got some other good guests lined up as well. So it's going to be a series to look forward to on the channel, I think. And it's on his Jordan Sorcery Pods channel, which is his secondary channel where he puts all of his longer form stuff, his interviews and his podcasts as well. So you go and check that. I'll try and remember to pop a link in. I'll forget. I'll try and remember.
Yeah, no promises, but what we'll do is I'll try and put it in the comments if we forget it, or Stu will. We put a tag comment.
Put it in the video around the time that we're talking about this, so it'll save it, but you can click on it at the end as well. Then. Or you can even stop watching us right now. And
nobody will blame you.
More interesting.
Nobody will blame you, and we can't swear. I would love to get Dave for here, but I think you'd be on the editing button for the old bleepometer. Although to be fair, he did ask Jordan, didn't he? He did say, "Can I swear on this one?" So I think he might be able to behave on that one. He certainly didn't on there, or what was the other one he did? Peachy's old one. I forget the name of that one.
Yeah, I know what you mean. The name has momentarily escaped me as well.
Yeah, But yeah, that was a little bit of hobby joy. So there's been quite a lot of hobby joy going around, re-engaging with our books, getting back on Heresy, although it has cost me a fortune. And I haven't. The one thing I will say on it, this is kind of nice because it's got all of your normal Legion rules and stuff in the front of it,
Beautiful
etc.
books.
They are fantastic, and they're actually somewhat evocative of the old Black Books in many respects.
I'd
But
agree.
it's quite a lot of money for about. I mean, fair enough. I've got Sons of Horus, so there's a bit more in here for me than other people, shall I say? But I got on this when Wayland were doing 35% off. I'll be straight
Yeah.
up with that. I went a bit buck wild with that. And bought a load of Mark IIs and loads of other stuff. And then I got an Age of Darkness book. Basically, one of Wanless's customers had sent him a box and said, if you've got a mate who wants to buy it, break the box. So I got the rule book at a cut rate as well, which was good.
Nice.
So I've made some savings, and there are savings to be had as we speak. I think who is it? It's got some Goblin Gaming have got some of the Mark IIs at 30% off, I want to say.
Okay.
So there may have gone by the time anyone watches this, but there are deals to be had. I wish they'd get some stock for the melee weapons sprue. That's all I'll say, GW. So if anyone is watching this, more of those, please.
Hurry up
either
and sort
way,
whatever's going on with digital. Hurry up and sort that out, because
well,
with the size
yeah,
of those books, that's not, that's a lot of weight just to carry around. There's clearly
I
something
am
going
frustrated.
on. So
Yeah,
we've had no Cafe Arcane Journal as digital,
or
and we've had
Beastman.
no Beastman came out, wasn't it?
No. No, sorry, it was Cafe. The Match Play Guide hasn't come
Cafe
out.
and Match Play Guide.
No, and Beastman. I swear Beastman's not out because Wood Elves was the last. I swear Wood Elves was the last.
I'm pretty sure Beastman. I might be wrong. I'm pretty sure Beastman is. But either way, they stopped for whatever reason. They stopped doing them. You've got your theories.
I do. I think this is to do with the EU legislation, to do with ebooks, to do with accessibility for those who have accessibility issues. If that is the case, and we do try and be even-handed but generally positive, that was decided in 2019.
Yeah.
There are plenty of people who've had enough time to get ahead of this. That is a spectacular failing of planning.
Yeah.
And I'm frustrated because between us, we've bought all of the ebooks up to now, and I bought the Middle-earth ones, and now I can't finish my collections on my tablet, and it's peeing me off.
Yeah.
Maybe just my personality type.
No, I like to keep all my books on my shelf.
Yeah, books live there, and then my tablet comes with it. I bought a new. I bought a new tablet for this.
Tablet, specifically for this. Yeah, I'm the same. And if it means that they have to release them in PDF, because I think that a little bit about this.
That it gets around some of it, but
work, don't you? A little bit through your work, but if they have to release them as PDFs rather than EPUBs, then I'd be fine with that as well. But
it's partly that, but a lot of it's to do with text to speech, and they have to put basically to do with the way they coordinate the images, so that it can e-read off it, which currently the EPUBs can't. So they're not set up for that. It's also about being able to sort of live change the size of, rather than actually zooming in and out. You can change the font sizes. It's a lot of interactive contextual stuff for accessibility, which, to be honest,
Kindle's EPUB readers do for novels. I'm
just like that.
It's text-to-speech can work. You can get I can get my iPad to read my digital books to me.
Well, it's the images that's the problem for that, because the images aren't set up to. It doesn't do it.
Interesting.
Which I get, it's a lot of work, but they've had 6 years. If this is the case, I might be wrong, but the fact that they stopped just before it came into law, it's a little too coincidental, and it's not really good enough, because to be advocates for those who have accessibility issues, it's supposed to be an inclusive game.
If that's what it is, we don't, to be clear, we're not saying it definitely. It's a theory. It could
But
be one seems to have stopped around the same time.
it's pretty clear that the current ebooks they do sell aren't really up to snuff. So
Yeah,
who knows? But anyway, let's move on from
yeah,
that.
that's probably a little bit of a dry conversation.
Yeah. But in terms of other things that we've been up to, hobby wise, I've done a little bit of stuff for my old world army, but that's when the summer weather kicked off, I stopped hobbying really because that is all just paint. And then I've got this bit of a spate for heresy.
You
So I'll
should very
follow it.
much focus on that while you've got the motivation to do it. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, I do need to get back to my Warriors of Chaos, or Henry will beat me with a stick because we are supposed to do some stuff next year, doubles, but it'll be done. Don't worry. If you're watching this, Henry, don't worry. I'll be on it. It's cool. My Heresy army is not going to be anywhere near my normal standard of painting. It is going to be quick and simple.
Yeah.
Because I'm not in it for going to competitions to get best painted, so it doesn't
It's
matter
easier.
as long as
It's
they look.
easier to do quicker paint jobs with Marines.
But it's
anyway.
about
They look good.
forgiving myself for cutting the corners.
Yeah, I'm with you. And I'm kind of with you. I can understand. I don't know if it's the reason why you've done it, but I feel like I can cut corners easier and feel happier about it with a Heresy Space Marine, especially if it's one without any skin showing. So if it's a bog standard Marine that I do, an Empire State Troop, I find it easier to kind of well, I won't do this, I won't do that because I don't need it. So yeah, if that's where the place you're coming from, which I'm guessing it might be, I'm with you on that.
Well, it's airbrush, oil washes, picking some bits out, a little bit of chipping, a couple of dibby dabby highlights. There'll be a couple of key items. Paint all the metals really quickly. They don't take much to do, and then the oil washes sort a lot of the rest of the bit out. And then it's just a couple of key items you put extra effort into: lenses, faces, that kind of thing, and then make sure the bases are decent and uniform.
Yeah,
the decals sort loads of it out.
Which is kind of the way to get a really decent standard Heresy army anyway. It's just a lot, just very different from the way you're having to paint.
They won't be doing full edge highlighting like I used to do and painting around all the chips and none of that. Can't be asked. It's not happening. It'll be enough so it looks solid. You can tell what everything is, and there's enough colours on it, and it looks right. That'll do me. I say this, but in 2 months' time, we'll be complaining because I've painted 3 Tactical Marines. But let's hope not. I've been pretty strict with myself so far. I've kept to a relatively simple basing palette, and I mean I've magnetized them and done the resin fill on the bottom and stuff, but that's just practicality. But yeah, it'll be fun. So enough about me. Let's talk about what you've been up to, Stone. Obviously, I know that you've done your paint and chat, but
well, you talked about your doubles, didn't you? So that's probably what I've been doing most recently. So even some today. Because we're nearly at doubles for Old World, and I've just finished all bar adding a little bit of resin water, which is arriving tomorrow from Element Games. The display board for me and Danny to use.
Nice.
So we're taking Cathay and Empire. So I've built my display board. I'll be making a video on it, so I won't share pictures of that here. I'm not sure. I filmed quite a lot of me making the board, but I don't know whether that could be a video on its own or whether it gets rolled into a video about the event as well. I'm not sure. So it could will be it gets rolled in together. Because I'm also planning soon this autumn a big terrain video on making docks, which will be for Marienburg or Nuln, basically any big Empire city because they're all along the river. But making some docks, and I've got a big boat that's been sent me. But I've built a display board that's got mostly a paved area, but there's a small corner which is a little edge of dock, which is removable, so I can use it for that future terrain. And it's got the front of a Cathayan ship. And when people are watching this, they will have probably seen some reviews and things for the latest arc in general, which is obviously all about Cathay arriving in Westerland and things as well. So there's some inspiration from what's in that book there.
Well, I'm smelling Mordheim. I think we should go back to Warhammer World and play some Mordheim on that. I think that'd be really
Well,
cool.
yeah, there'll definitely be enough stuff for it to work. I think from what I've got planned, it'll fit one side of it. It's a bit of set dressing at the moment, but I definitely think there'll be space for it. So yeah, so I've been working on that. That's pretty much done. The army's all finished, and people have seen that video recently. But I've been on holiday and stuff, so I've not
Yeah.
really done a lot of other stuff than what people have seen
Well,
seen in videos. I have the recent hobby I've done. I've recently picked up some pro acryl metals. So I'm gonna recommend that you try them because I think you'll like them. And they are like scale 75 metal and alchemy, but smoother.
hmm,
Um, and I would probably describe those as quite smooth anyway.
hmm.
These are a little bit less viscous, but coverage is just as strong, if not stronger. And very good. They need
Okay.
to expand the range slightly, but the colors are very, very good. It's literally one set of paints plus two extra. That's all you need at the moment. You can get a lot for very cheap. Every single part of colors. So if you split it into golds, copper, brass, and silver, still
Hmm.
silver, could do with more within the range. But there's just enough now in each. If you buy the extra two paints, one's magnesium and one's an AMP dark steel color. If you buy those, there is enough to cover most kind of paint color
Okay.
recipes. So you've got a way of doing gold or bronzes, and you've got a way of doing steel. I think it could do with a few more golds, different types, of more of a desaturated gold. Doesn't quite have that
Yeah.
necro gold version. Um, but
Yeah, that gets a lot of heavy use in my palette, actually, the Necro,
yeah, well,
so it
I
need to
still
have that.
need that. But the reason I've picked them up is because I got fed up of going to buy, even from the best suppliers, and I'm not going to knock the suppliers, but going to buy stuff and just not being able to find the one I need, or finding
Yeah.
one paint on its own in a web store that I've never ordered from before, that I'm going to have to pay more shipping on to get one paint. But then they haven't got all the other paints I need, so I don't want to have to put 20 different orders in. I like to, I need to actually with my job, I need to be able to go, this is going to dispatch next day or arrive the day after, or if I order it today before 3 o'clock, it's good, or before midday, it's going to be dispatched by three. Element Games quite often is the way because I know that I'll get it next day.
Yeah.
So I won't have a paint and I'm working on something, I need it. So Pro Acryl, really good. The other thing is you get 22 mils in a pot, and
Hmm.
the pots are probably the best dropper bottles out there. There's not a perfect dropper bottle, it exists.
No,
My favourite range of paints outside of them at the moment
and
is my
I've got some
two
of their
thin
stuff.
is my two thin coats. They're amazing, but their dropper bottles are not great. But the Pro Acryl dropper bottles are probably the best
Yeah.
doing what you want them to do. As long as you remember to wipe the you just got to wipe the tip.
Yeah,
Whereas
that it
a lot of the
stains like
others,
mad.
it does, but if you wipe it straight away, it does quite well. It's not perfect, but it does the job. Where
Yeah.
most of the paints over time, that tip, the nozzle will leak inside. The problem with the two thin coats ones is when you shake them, which you need to, and they've all got an agitator. There's just enough of a gap that it just spills out
Uh,
inside and really gums up. Luckily, the paints are good
oh,
enough, but we haven't quite solved the problem. But yeah, I really like the Pro Acryl metallics to the point where I'm going to use them as my first go-to. Now I've used them enough to decide, and they just got a few paints missing at the moment. And I hope they, over time, fill the gap. I can't see why they wouldn't expand the range. Of course, they're going to keep doing that. So enjoy them a lot, really, really, really good. Um, but I really recommend spending the money on them, Dan. I honestly think you'll really
yeah.
like them.
I've been using a lot of the MIG ammo metals,
Hmm.
burnt engine exhaust, and a few others as well, and
Yeah,
some
not tried them, but
gunmetal. They're again, like you say, high saturation of pigment quad, but really, really thin.
yeah,
They're exceptional. And luckily, my local train store stocks them.
yeah.
A lot of AK as well at the minute. I mean, I swear by this. It's my favorite black. I know that some people have an issue with AK. It's which I understand.
Yeah.
But and this as well, reddish grey.
I think
This
I might have that. Yeah.
this is glorious.
Hmm.
This is properly good.
Their intense white is also really good.
It is, but I still prefer the Pro Acryl
Hmm.
in terms of the white. I've yet to find any that works better than that Pro Acryl. Um, credit where it's due for that. In fact, I think it's the only Pro Acryl paint I actually own is that white. And I've tried every black known to man, and there's nothing that comes close to that
Yeah,
AK.
that's my go-to black now. That's my standard. That's all my base rims get done with that. And that's my kind of. I need a
The only
black.
thing is, it is quite matte. So
Yeah,
I put flow improver, like slightly satin, if I want it to match other blacks. But yes,
it's
it's
good.
phenomenal.
I'm with you. I'm with you on that one. What else was I going to say? One final point on the Pro Acryl, which is, you probably realise from using the white, is that for a metallic, you wouldn't always put them on a wet palette because quite often they separate. Just doesn't happen with the Pro Acryl. You can thin and thin and thin, and they don't separate or break down. It's the same with the metallics. I don't know what they do to them, but they just. I put them on my wet palette the first time I was using them with a regular brush. They just sat there, and I thought, oh, this is good. They're behaving. They're not running around. And as I said, I've been using tooth and coats. It's my go-to range for most regular colours. And I really like their metallics in terms of what they have, but they're a bit sealed like, so they're a little bit clumpy. They're a little bit, you can see the metal flake in there. They're not smooth. So I'll use them, but there's something was missing from them. So that's why I've gone for the Pro Acryl. And I think they're slowly going to replace my Scale 75. It's something close enough to decayed metal that I could probably use. It's the Necro Gold now. It's the thing I need to keep buying, and hope that Pro Acryl do a desaturated gold that will cover it. But they're not far off it, to be honest with you. Their range, they just need another 3 golds. Would really make a difference. Probably another 5, 6 metallics overall, and that range will just be done then. I think.
Yeah, I have to admit, I it'll take a lot to shift me off scales. There's the metal and alchemy, particularly the actual alchemy colors, the peridot and stuff. Peridot, how do you pronounce that? Someone crying in the comments, but that's I've yet to find any. Like cobalt alchemy is just stunning, beautiful color, and I find use for it in a lot of places. But the more paint, as if I need more stuff to fill up my drawers and things. But still, it's all good, isn't it? More paint.
Absolutely.
New ways of achieving effects. Although I still need to kind of, I haven't shifted over to the quick paints and the speed paints and contrasts and stuff in the way that you have. I do have some. I do use them, but I tend to use them for just glazing things over. I don't really use them the way you do. So I do need to look at that. It would require a transition from a method of painting, like a misery painting, I call it, where I do glaze and layer and move it.
It'll be a project. Do it for a project that it makes sense. I was the same for ages. I didn't engage with them, and then it was, let's pick up all the browns, the bits I used to hate painting on miniatures was painting belts and things, and I realised that suddenly I could do a little bit of underpainting, and it made painting all my belts and straps and things quicker, because it was easier to just do a couple of scratches and things, because look, the edge of that's almost highlighted. And then from that, the rest of it developed a little bit. But so just wait till you've got a particular project or job that requires it, and then you will add what you need, and then you make your own mind up, I suppose.
Well, you certainly nailed it. I do enjoy watching the way you work with them. I watched your Marienburg Captain video yesterday, I want to say. And
it's quite recent,
it's the way you have developed a method of using them. It's interesting the way you paint skin, because it's almost, you go the opposite way to the way I paint skin, but it ends up kind of similar. I set the base tone, add all the purples, then bring it all back up, and then glaze it at the end, whereas you glaze in the purples.
I changed a bit because I was using a contrast style paint to do the skin and then doing the glazes, and now I've gone very traditional layering, dark to light, and then glazing those colours on the end, and then returning to it a little bit. So no doubt a new paint will come along, and I'll adjust that a little bit in the future. You just go through fads of painting, don't you? Find something that works, you keep doing it. But
I've got my little notepad. I've picked that up as a habit from, because Henry kept on talking about it. I'm like, so really, because I used to have loads of notes saved on my phone. This is the way I do this, but this is the way I do that bit. But I've got a little notepad now. It's full of paint recipes and stuff, which is quite cool. And I try and remember. I'm not always very good at it.
I've just thought of something that would be fun that I wanted to talk to you about. We haven't really discussed it in great detail. But two things: White Dwarf, Lyle,
Okay.
Lowry going. I thought that's quite
Oh
interesting.
yeah.
But before we get into that, this is the latest issue. Um, there is a by him actually, if I'm running by Lalo. There's a little guide of how to apply decals, and he
Does
doesn't
it
mention them by
mention
name. Doesn't mention them by
Microsoft?
names, but he mentions setting and softening solutions. And there
They're
you'll
quite
see
clearly
it's
what they are.
microset and microsol. But it's really nice to see them happy to put them in
Mm,
a magazine, in a publication, obviously with the brand name turn around, but then also talk about using something they're not selling. I mean, that's
I've not
very
seen that
Ungames
since
Workshop
the
and
old.
definitely not very the model the model masterclass books from Forge World
Yeah,
probably.
Imperial Armor ones. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's nice to see them going, that actually this is the best way to apply them, and in their catalogue, as some people will call it. Don't get me wrong, I think he's done a really good job trying to make this a bit more like the old White Dwarfs. There's loads of
Mm,
kind of hobby articles like that. There's narrative, there's stories. Unfortunately, it looks like they don't want that. Even though it's selling quite well, even though it's doing all right, it's won some awards. He announced, didn't he, in his
mm.
on social media that he's been let go, essentially, made redundant. They're going without a managing editor, which feels weird.
Well, yeah. I mean,
From
obviously, no
October,
one's made
November, it should
redundant.
be.
Their position is made redundant, so
Yes, yeah.
hopefully they won't backtrack in a couple of months because that's always an odd behaviour. But
Especially as he's done
yeah,
such a good job, in my opinion, anyway. I mean, he's got some pedigree. For those of you who remember No Quarter, the War Machine version of White Dwarf, which I used to have loads of issues, which again was very much like White Dwarf from the early days, was very good. He was editor of that for quite a while as well, but it's sad to see him go for it. It looked like he's doing
well,
a good
he
job.
seems like a nice guy as well. I mean, obviously, I had a few models in the mag the other year. Mostly, to be fair, I dealt with Dan, but Lyle's. But he's always seemed nice. And people talk, and I've never heard anyone ever say anything other than quite glowing about Lyle. Just that he's a lovely guy and is a very good advocate for the hobby. And it's a shame when people that good aren't rewarded, shall we say?
Mm.
Um, because there's plenty of people in various hobby spaces, not just the Games Workshop one, who aren't such nice individuals who seem to do quite well out of things. It's always a shame.
Yeah.
But
I mean, when I saw the announcement, my first reaction was, well, this magazine isn't selling. I thought I can understand that because who buys
mm,
magazines these days? What does the magazine do that Warcom and Warhammer TV and the YouTube channel and all the social media can't do? Because you easily could take that magazine away and deliver all that information via other sources of media. Who's buying these magazines? Because they appear to be aimed at mostly Age of Sigmar and 40k
mm,
players, who I would argue a lot of them are maybe a younger demographic than people playing Old World and Heresy, who are more likely the age group who would still buy a print magazine to read. Even I don't buy many print magazines anymore.
no.
One of the only ones I buy, and again, I buy that because of keeping an eye on what's in there from a professional point of view. So I thought maybe that's bad, but then in his resignation, well, not again, sorry, not resignation, in his goodbye message that he put out, he was able to sort of say that it's like still the number one best selling item each month. So there's more White Dwarf sold than any other individual thing. So it's obviously selling. Then they won awards. There's a list of quite a few things that he's achieved there that makes you think, oh, actually, maybe the magazine isn't doing as terribly as it's made out. So it
Yeah.
doesn't look like he's going anywhere. I thought, oh, maybe they're getting rid of it, and that's where he's going. But it looks like they're just going without him. I wonder whether they'll have some kind of rolling guest editors each time, and it's just going to rumble on, or they're just going to do that poor old make someone else do the work without giving them the title and the salary to go with it kind of job. And you and I have both worked for companies, I'm sure, that have done that kind of thing. I've definitely done that in the past when I used to work for corporate business, when you end up having to pick up a role because you've got the brilliant opportunity to take up all this, but we're not going to actually formally promote you. I wonder if that's going to happen. It'd be interesting to see what does happen. What is the plan there, and whether it
Yeah.
changes in format, or whether we're going to get a very similar thing just without him heading it up, which would be sad in some
Well, if
ways.
they move it into merchandising, then we're all in trouble. Not necessarily speaking about GW merchandising, but that tends to be where a lot of this stuff ends up when companies do things like this, and then the quality of it will go down because they're always chasing what they're promoting, and then all those people who do deride it as a catalog will be correct.
And
So
move it into marketing and get some cross writing, because they've obviously got people writing for Warcom, and
wouldn't be a
makes you
surprise, would it?
wonder. Imagine a lot of the writing skills are the same, but in terms of putting it together is completely different. Putting together a print magazine, I imagine, is completely different to putting together something for the website. That makes you wonder if you've got writers that you can get them working cross-platform. That's the way a lot of modern magazines would work. I mean, the only other magazine I occasionally buy is Wisdom, which is a cricket magazine, and their writers are hosting their podcast, hosting their YouTube channel, writing for their website, and writing for the print magazine. So that they're doing all of those things. So I can, as much as I'm sad to see what happens. From a business point of view, I can completely understand why they might say, well, surely it makes sense to have White Dwarf brought under the general editing, whoever's the controlling editor of Warcom and all of that stuff. Maybe that's who's going to pick this up. That'll be my guess right now, because it makes sense to surely have some cross-pollination there between writers and, well, can you write me an article? Well, we're going to put this on the website. Actually, I want to put this in print. It feels like a sensible thing to do in that sense. I hope what they don't do is make something that's worse.
Warhammer Visions.
Yeah. Well, they've learned from that, and hopefully the rest of the team there that don't end up with roles that they hate as well. Hopefully they can continue. I assume they are enjoying their jobs. Hopefully whatever they continue to do, they enjoy. I mean, Matt Hudson, was it mentioned by Dave in the interview with, was it someone else? Seen his name mentioned recently. It was a different interview on Jordan's channel, I think. It was with Andy.
Yeah,
Andy
it doesn't
Hall.
ring a bell, but
it was Andy Hall, I think, where he's talking about Total War, because he worked at White Dwarf for a while. I think Matt Hudson has been at White Dwarf forever as part of that writing team, literally forever. So you can imagine what do you do with people like that if you end up getting rid of the magazine. But anyway, I hope everyone else their outcomes
Phil
are okay.
Kelly obviously went into rules writing, didn't he? Because Phil's doing AOS, and he started at White Dwarf.
He did, but he did loads of rules writing, and now I think he's head of all of the
AOS,
all of the lore at AOS. Yeah, it feels like it's that way.
But yeah, I mean, Matt Hudson got to be late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, it's just forever.
Definitely at the beginning of third edition, I would say he came in, or very early doors third edition, because then you were seeing some people going out. A.D. Wood was just about leaving around third edition time because his orcs were in one of the first battle reports. Yeah. I mean, I don't think White Dwarf was quite the same for third edition Warhammer Fantasy, was it? It was White Dwarf. I think they were probably still stocking Dungeons and Dragons and stuff at third edition Fantasy.
Just about. But it's, we'll see. I will look on in interest to see whether it's an immediate change, whether it's a slow, change, and whether any of the things that they've kind of launched as part of this revamp, because this is issue 515. I've noticed that they've not blurred out the 5 a little bit. So the initial few issues, if you put them spine to spine, when it got to issue 500, it almost looked like they were starting from 0-1 again. The 5 was a little bit greyed out. But
was the first one had Abaddon on the front, didn't it?
I remember. It's there, but I'm not going to show everyone my behind or my bend down to pick it up. But anyway, we're going around circles a little bit. Hopefully everyone else on the team is either still working there and enjoy it, or they've found other roles they enjoy, and that we still have some kind of White Dwarf. But I also understand the how much flack they'll get for getting rid of it, but also all the conversations around print and magazines and how they fit with modern world and all the other media that we've got, because it's not an easy one.
People are returning to physical media, aren't they? There is a great revival for that. Who thought vinyl would become as popular again?
Yeah.
So
another thing, while we're talking about physical media, There's an awesome YouTube channel called Anvil of Doom. I don't know if you come across him, Dan. He paints
Uh,
really awesome classic.
just about. I know you got a T-shirt though, didn't you?
Yeah, he sent me a T-shirt. Well, I bought a T-shirt. Sorry, I bought a T-shirt from Deets, from the store, which he has a connection with, Electric Witch. You'll love a lot of their T-shirts.
Oh yeah, are they all from? Because they all ship from Oz.
Shipped from Australia, came within a week, 7 days shipping. Super, and it wasn't expensive. I'm sure the shipping was only a $5 or something like that. Really good. But anyway, we chat a little bit. I'm gonna have him on for a chat at some point when I can make the time zones work. But he said I'll send you a print, and he sent me a little package with a little just some stickers. But he sent me.
I love a sticker.
An artist as well, but this is one of 20.
Oh, that's cool.
It's really, really cool. So
that is cool.
That will get a frame. So he's just sent me that. He sells the prints as well, so you can go and support his channel by buying those prints. But so lovely package it was to arrive on my doorstep yesterday. I just wanted to show those off.
Well, as people might be able to see, I have a bit of an issue. I collect a lot of most of this is Mondo and stuff, but yeah, I've still got loads of stuff to frame at the moment. It's not good. But
I'm running out of space, but I will find space for that, definitely.
I pimp this as well. Isolation Man print shop. I've had this for a little while, but his stuff's amazing. A lot of Tolkien stuff. Obviously, this is Witch King. Very cool. So yeah, I've been buying a lot of T-shirts recently, which is good. But mostly it's bands and stuff. So it's good fun. But yeah, I'd obviously the Anvil of Doom stuff. Was it Thingy Witch?
Electric Witch, I think.
Electric Witch, that's it.
They sell loads of stuff, and you basically do partnerships with artists. No AI strictly, which is great. And he gets this done through there. I don't know how it works financially backwards for him, but again, those guys are really nice. Again, when I shared the picture of it, they sent me a message saying, "I love your channel," so that they're obviously
they're keeping an eye.
So it's cool company. I will buy more T-shirts from them, especially as I know how affordable it was to order from Australia, and how the T-shirt's great quality as well. So on
that basis, I'll do some orders because but then I looked and saw it was Australia. Last time I ordered anything from Australia, I think I paid £37 for shipping. So I was a little bit.
Really isn't. I'm sure it was less than. It's around £35 for T-shirt and shipping, and arrived in 7 days or something. It's
can't argue with that.
No, sorry, spend that on the T-shirts as well. So it's fine, and they've got some really nice, very Warhammer-esque designs at the moment.
The goblins are cool.
Yeah,
I like the gobos. Cool. And again, Isolation Man print shop for this guy. And I've worn it before. I've got a Skaven one that was Iron Litany. Unfortunately, with this guy and Iron Litany, he doesn't run. They're limited. You can get what you can get, but
Makes sense.
Although this one did take about 2.5 months to arrive. Because it went round all. Do you remember this is the one I was saying was going all around America, left Los Angeles the day before it burned down, and then took a trip to Switzerland for some reason. The shipping manifest, like the route it took, is weird.
Bit crazy. At least you didn't have to go back into the States again, because it would have picked up some tariff charges on the way. Anyway, we'll move past that quickly. But other stuff, we haven't covered the new Middle Earth stuff that was announced.
We have not.
See?
Yeah, the troll, super cool. I will get one. I shudder to think how much it's going to cost. It's a big old lump of resin. I wouldn't be. It's going to be 3 figures. Let's be honest. It's probably going to be. What do you reckon? 120, 130 quid.
Potentially, yeah. Potentially, yes.
It seems around the right thing for that. That said, model's beautiful. I probably will get one at some point. I'm a little cooler to Middle Earth at the moment, I'll be honest. Someone did say recently on, I can't remember, it was Instagram or something, it's been 8 months since Edoras came out. And then I thought, I painted one model from that. Oops.
Yeah, I've not gone back and finished my armies. It's just old Wells kept me busy. It's not really any lack of desire to do it. It's wishing I had like all of us,
yeah,
hobbyists. And I deliberately don't look at games because I know I'd be interested in them. Things like
Yeah.
French Crusade, I'm very aware of it and just
Oh,
refuse to look
don't.
at it because I know I'd enjoy it. And yeah, I just it's there. I will paint more, and I want to play more games with it. But I
Yeah.
also know with things like Lord of the Rings that I'm such a passionate fan about Lord of the Rings in general. That's never gone away. Some war games do. They kind of get excited about a war game, the war game goes. But in Lord of the Rings in general, such a passionate fan about it. At some point, that will cycle back in a really big way for me. And when it does, then I like to do
It's all
stuff
there waiting.
around it. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so it means that will make me want to play games again and do stuff. Whether it's the stuff I've got sitting waiting to be painted, I don't know. And again, if I was
It's
doing this channel full time, then I would be doing it. And that's not a plea for people to go and join my Patreon. Please do go and join my Patreon. But that if I was doing this channel full time, I would do more of those things because I'd have more time to do more project videos, etc., etc. And those will be they would definitely be the subject of it. But right now, I have to cover the things that are highest on my list of really want to do, or quite often it's just a time thing, isn't it? So the most
yeah.
exciting thing for me at the moment, Old World. So that takes up a lot of the bandwidth for me because I want it to. And where I wish I had a little bit more time would be to do Middle Earth properly and a bit of Heresy. I'd love to just spend the whole time almost covering those, on the
Yeah.
three videos a week, one of each of those on the channel, and then something for historical would be
Oh,
amazing.
the algorithm will go mental. It wouldn't love you
I've
for
given
that,
up
would
on
it?
that. I've given up on worrying
Yeah.
about the algorithm. It's a really. I mean, for people that it might be a semi-interesting thing to talk about. They changed the algorithm at the beginning of the year, and it's designed to help smaller channels, which is good. Get seen. That's what they say. Um, and what it means is on your home screen, if you go on YouTube a lot, you're probably noticing there's a lot more random stuff on there that they're just showing you stuff they think you might like. But what it actually means is that if you're like me and I put a bolt action video out once a month, um, and you don't want to watch bolt action, so you're on YouTube, you will just watch an old world video that you enjoyed. Then the next video you see pop up is a bolt action one. If you don't click on that, because you're not going to watch it because you don't want to, it won't show you my next old world video because you've missed me out once. And most of the stuff on my home screen, is 70% of it, is stuff I don't subscribe to. And yes, we all subscribe, and you can hit the subscriptions tab, but we don't do that as human beings. We scroll through, be it on your phone or be it on your TV or on your iPad or whatever. Most people spend some time scrolling through their home screens, and they just click on stuff, and it feeds also into more random nature on the algorithm. So it has changed. My overall views have still slowly been growing. This month was a bit tougher, but the views are still growing slowly. But I'm not getting as many big videos anymore because overall, it basically feels like the algorithm wants me to put out more content, and be the same style over and over again to get those repeat customers. And that's why you'll see people having multiple small channels rather than one big one. So I use Rob, Honest Wargamer. He's got Square Based, he's got the Honest Wargamer, he's got the Honest Wargamer streams, and he's got Honest Heresy now. Because he knows that by putting a Heresy video next to an old world video next to an AOS video, the algorithm can't get his head around it. So many people will do that and split off. And should I do that? I've had this conversation with, should I have a historical and should I have a fantasy? But then even then I need to break down the fantasy into all the different game systems. And that's why I haven't done it, because I don't think it would work as well as I think. I'd need to just do old world, and then I need to just do bolt action. But then where do I put all the other things? So if I'm going to cover lots of games, I have to go, well, that is what the channel is. It's a mismatch, and I have to fight through it. And at some point they change the algorithm again. And if you split off your channel and you do all of these different things, then that might necessarily work in the future. So yeah, if I was covering two games and they were fighting against each other, then maybe I would. But I cover so many different things now. It's might as well stick with what I've got. And if I do put out a bolt action video, I need to make sure that I then put out an old world video that weekend as well, so at least I don't lose people too long, so to speak. But it's definitely tougher.
Could be interesting to see what our respective homepages look like. Mine's there's a lot of this hobby. There's an awful lot of Jonathan from the Royal Armories doing guns and games and movies and stuff. There's an awful lot of video games, including Amiga. For some reason, I'm really on Amiga games at the moment.
Oh, I used to
And
love my
then general games reviews and stuff. So a lot of it. Well,
yeah, I've got
speaking
loads
of
of music.
games,
I will late in the evenings if I'm watching YouTube on the telly, but in the living room, I'll watch live concerts and stuff. Things I'll go on these kind of sort of weird, random, sort of searches. Oh, what about this band I used to listen to 20 years ago? And I'll go and find a couple of songs I liked, and then I'll find a live set and I'll watch that, and then I remember another one. So there's a lot of
aren't they
that.
all reforming at the moment and playing
You
gigs?
know, I mean, who was I talking to the other day about this? I had almost the same conversation. So I saw Incubus back in April, and you
Oh,
see, you make money by doing stadium tours as a band. You're not making your money through Spotify, through streaming platforms. You're making
no,
your money by doing big. So if you can reform and do it, then you do it. So there's so many, and because I went to see Incubus, then loads of other bands from the late
that era.
90s all the way up to sort of 2010, they pop up in my Facebook as well. So if you're a friend about, do you want to go and see them? Who's the singer? Who's that guy? I don't recognize him. Yeah, and there's loads of it. Be Oasis coming back and doing tours, or
Yeah.
it's not so much for me.
What
That,
was
but
it? Bloody My Chemical Romance have come
yeah,
back.
they're doing a similar kind of thing.
But there's a whole bunch of them doing it. Although I have to admit, I'm still upset about Morning View. It was a remix that never needed to happen. But Incubus, I appreciate that
I prefer the original as
original.
well, the
Yeah,
original
yeah.
version. But that
I
was
get that his voice has
that
changed,
was
but still, no.
exactly that was what they did. That's what I went to see.
Mm,
And to be fair, it was more like the original than the remix, if that makes sense. But
good.
he was live anyway, so it didn't matter. But
Yeah.
that was cool. I enjoyed it. I'm not sure the wife did. She didn't really. I dragged her along. She kind of enjoyed it. At least there was stuff I could have taken her to that she really wouldn't have enjoyed. At least it was fairly. At least he was Incubus, and it was fairly melodic and. Well, he's a better looking man at my, at our respective ages than, so she had something to look at. Yeah, it was good.
Well,
I enjoyed it.
speaking of video games, though, Dawn of War
Mm.
4,
Oh yes, good.
have you seen the trailer for that?
No, I knew it existed.
It
I just
looks
knew I wouldn't be
awesome.
playing it. So done my usual. I won't engage with that.
They've mixed up a load of stuff in it, which is cool. Characters from particularly the second game appear to appear in it. I didn't play the third one, if I'm honest, very much. It got so much negative press, I just didn't bother.
Yeah,
But the sort of the scout sergeant, who was a character from the second game, appears to be in the intro, and obviously they Primaris them up and all that kind of stuff now.
yeah, it makes sense.
But they showed some. Obviously, it's probably not exactly in-game footage, but they've shown what it looks like, and it looks like the first game. So mass units, all that kind of stuff, which for me is really exciting because they've just released the definitive edition of Dawn of War. They've basically remastered it. And I've been playing a little bit of that here and there on my PC, but there's no way I'll play Dawn of War 4 next year. So I'm a little bit frustrated because I'm not going to buy a whole brand new PC just for one game. Not doing
Yeah,
it. I just wish they would, now that consoles have mouse and keyboard support, I wish they would just release these games for console. I don't see why they won't.
Maybe they will. Maybe it'll come out after a year or something. There'll be a re-release or something.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I'm similar to you. I've got a Mac, so you can't really play games on a Mac. And again, that baffles me as well. Is that they're clearly powerful enough to run games, but it's just that gaming market has never synergized with a Mac version of things. Back in the day, they were. I remember used to pick up CD-ROM boxes, and they'll actually have the PC CD-ROM and Mac on there. But it's been a blessing as well, because it's meant that I've not lost years of my life to playing Total War and things when I could be painting miniatures and things. I've got a PS5 that doesn't get used very often because the kids are watching telly, or when I could do it, it's a choice between hobbying, podcasting, making videos, or playing it.
I tend to do one or the other.
Christmas, I might ask for the screen, the handset, so I can sit. What kind of is it called? The remote play version.
Oh yeah. My brother's got that.
Might ask for that because I don't need my TV then. I can sit and play a little bit while the kids are playing something else. But maybe we'll see. It's not something I want to spend the money on at the moment, so I'll ask for a present.
Perfectly reasonable.
But yeah, Dawn of War. Yeah, it's would I play? I did play the original a little bit, but not loads. To be honest,
I loved it. Played a lot of that. I used to do LAN parties for those who are very old. Will remember that. We used to bundle around to Darren's house at the time, and all the PC towers and monitors and everything else and everything we hooked up. And yeah, I mean that was a laugh. It was good fun, but that kind of thing just doesn't happen anymore. So it was definitely of its time.
I used to game at that time on a PC, funnily enough, but most of my gaming at that point was morning hungover, something to do rather than because that was it really. I was either working, socializing, or hungover. I think for quite a few years, all my gaming was a hangover activity in between the social. I'm not at work. I'm not socializing. What do I do? Oh, let's play some games.
A lot of Diablo 2.
Maybe, yeah. Oh god, that and a few other things. But yeah, it looks cool. Will I play it? No, because I haven't got the PC to do it. And even if I did have one, would I not? No, don't know. Maybe. We'll see. Probably not. Probably not going to happen. Now, I think I've covered all the stuff I've been doing, to be honest.
Yeah.
With stuff I can talk about. There's a few things I can't go into too much at the moment. There's a few things I can. I've had some fun with. That painting some Conflict 47 looks interesting. There's too many games out there. You were looking at Baron's War, I know, weren't you?
Don't. That and
it looks so good.
Pillage.
Because
Martin's all over that, and I've pre-ordered the Sharp from War Games Atlantic because it's Sharp.
I haven't done it, because it's just going to be on general sale, isn't it? I'm really interested to see what those rules are, because I still haven't quite found a version of rules to use for that. And I don't know if you remember, I had Marcus Cribb on for an interview chat, and we are long-term planning, getting together. We want to play some Sharp basically, and we're looking at different rules. And yeah, we're got to see what Andy Hobday does with the set of rules for Napoleon. It's going to be good. I do like what he does. So yeah, I think it's going to be on my list of things to explore next year when it comes out. So I haven't pre-ordered the miniature because of that reason. I just thought it's still going to be available when I want to buy the rules, isn't it? Probably.
Yeah.
So I'll get it at the same time. But
it was 20.
It's cheap, isn't it? I remember I pre-ordered the original Rifleman from them, but no problem at all. They arrived, no problem. But I think it was one of those, you pre-order, they arrive, and then 2 weeks later they're just on general release anyway. So at some point I might be sitting there bored and go, I'll just order it. But as yet I haven't. But I am planning on picking it up as soon as the rules are out. If not,
it's just a present that'll arrive for me at some point. It'll be like, past me's bought me a present, rather than the way it used to be, where sober me, drunk me would have bought me a present and it turns up. So it's now it's just bad decisions rather than drunken decisions. But
I've got a little 3D printed one at the moment, and I've got Paul Hicks's awesome sculpts he's done as well. I've definitely I built a little force a few months back. I don't know if I shared it online, but I bought a force with using all of Paul Hicks's Through Brigade Games characters, apart from Sharp. I found a 3D printed one I quite liked. This will probably be replaced now by the new War Games Atlantic one. I don't always like their faces, so we'll have to see whether that's up to scratch. And then I've built probably about 40, 50 just individual plastic 28mm troops as well, with the whole idea to play some skirmish style cinematic, sharp style Napoleonic skirmishing. So I've got them all ready for a project at some point. But again, it's one of those things that's been on my notes on my phone for ages to do as content, and it just kept getting pushed along. So I received an email from Games Workshop saying you will shortly be receiving this, and oh, this is coming. Oh, this is coming. And every time I think there's going to be a little bit of a drop off, something comes along, and certain projects are continually just getting bumped down, which is a good problem to have. There's never a problem of wondering what to do for content. It's always wondering what's going to actually get picked out of the huge list. In fact, I can see the list now. There's a likely videos list that I've got just for the next 2 to 8 weeks, and there's 14 things on it. And yeah, half of them are just being replaced by things that have turned up since that point. So yeah, I'm not going to read it out because that'll just mean that I've
you commit
overcommitting and give away things that I shouldn't be saying. But we will see. We'll see. But
gonna have people frantically trying to read it from your glasses now.
yeah. But yeah, I have to close down all the porn tabs. No, they don't exist. Don't exist. Have to need ID now. No, anyway.
Oh dear me!
Show up on my bank account now. I've come to the end of all of the stuff that I definitely wanted to cover off all of what I've been doing, and I don't know if you have as well, but I
think people have listened to us wax lyrical about stuff that's probably only tangentially, appropriate to the thing we even do, the podcast. But this is what people sign up for: listen to us waffle about stuff, and occasionally it's relevant to their interest.
Yeah.
So,
well, this is unashamedly going to be a proper hobby catch up, and we talked about a couple of things beforehand that we couldn't put out as a public conversation, but the rest of it we just genuinely left to discuss as part of this. We do it as a proper hobby catch up, and that's what it's going to be billed as. And I know that will be something that the purists that watch more than some of the others will have a lower views, no doubt, than some of the ones when we go hell for leather on a new topic.
We can blame it on the algorithm. It's fine.
But this is very much just a hobby chat, a real old school podcast chat, but worth it nonetheless. Anyway, so with all that said and done, thank you very much for watching. Make sure you go and follow Dan on Instagram, by the way, if you don't already. Dan, your Instagram handle is
Dan_OOTFP, which is throwback to the Out of the Frying Pan podcast.
Nice. Just keep changing the podcast names that we do, and you can keep changing your handles.
I'm not changing it again. It's staying as it is. And obviously people will be following Stu at Miniature Realms. So and obviously hopefully, please do go check out Jordan Sorcery and MS Paint's stuff. Dave does is really, really good as well. It's sweary, but it's always great quality. He actually works in soundtrack editing and stuff as his profession outside of hobby.
Yes, I think he has done. Worked in film, definitely.
Yeah, and it shows. And it's just good fun. It's a lot of really tongue in cheek. Just he doesn't take it any more seriously than he needs to. So it's well worth a look.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, check out all the other links I have in the video description. I've got dice back in stock, and I've set up a proper Shopify now, so you don't have to email me and ask how much it is and all of that backwards and forwards. You can just click on the link and buy it like a shop.
And they're all right, those things.
Yeah, I'm not using much in anger, but they seem okay. They're square ones as well, aren't they? So nice and accurate. But yeah, if you want to order dice, that's a great way of supporting the channel. And if you really want to keep supporting me, please come check out the Patreon. But other than that, thank you very much for watching, and we'll catch you soon.